Last time, you remember, our heroes were driving their herd of fishing worms through the gorge when they were confronted by a most dreadful sight, the what's that? A frightful monster so called because whenever anyone sees it, they scream,
Good heavens! What's that?
See? Our heroes fled in fright and panic.
Not to say pell-mell.
While back at the gorge, the monster was gay and jubilant.
Who's gay and jubilant? We're Boris and Natasha.
Yes, the what's that was just a trick dreamed up by Boris Badenov. But of course, our heroes didn't know that.
He's right behind us, Rock. I can hear the pounding of his big flat feet.
Those are your big flat feet, Bullwinkle.
Oh, so they are.
Now let's just wait a second.
Okay. That's long enough. Let's go.
Hold it, Bullwinkle. I'm ashamed of us. We acted like cowards.
Who was acting?
We left our herd back there.
True.
Monster or no monster, we gotta go back.
How come?
Noblesse oblige.
Gesundheit.
I mean, it's our duty to meet that terrible monster face to face.
We couldn't back up to him, huh?
Come on, Bullwinkle. Duty call.
And reluctantly, our heroes began to retrace their footsteps.
They're coming back, Natasha. Quick, back into what's that costume. Oh, you're in already. Good. Now we can... Raskolnikov. Who's in there with you? Who's guy with the funny feet? Come out, you double-crosser, and fight like men. Natasha, come out.
Yes, darling.
Natasha, you're out here.
Darling, everybody's got to be somewhere.
But who is in there?
I don't know, but it's pretty cheesy disguise. Look, nose is all lopsided.
Uh-oh.
The two villains dashed away, madly pursued by the monster. Round and round the rough and rugged rocks, the ragged rascals rudely ran until they were able to escape temporarily.
Darling, I thought Fireside Crookbook said that was extinct.
He did. Look right here. This frightening beast is now extinct.
Turn page, darling.
Almost. Oh, boy.
Things looked bad for Boris and Natasha until the wily what's that, dizzy from chasing around the rock, collapsed in a heap.
Let's go, Boris.
Hold it, hold it. Look who's coming.
Sure enough, our heroes had returned to the worm herd.
Well, we're back, fellas.
Did you miss us?
Let's get going, Bullwinkle. It's almost sundown.
Right. And I certainly hope we don't see whatever it was we saw before. Whatever it was.
And once more, our heroes began to drive their herd forward.
Come on, Worm. Get a wiggle on.
But just a short distance ahead, Boris and Natasha were ready to go into their act again.
Now, when I count 3, we jump out and go, hoo-hoo, hoo-hoo. Got it?
Got it, darling. Hoo-hoo, hoo-hoo.
And Natasha?
Yes?
Next time you stand on my shoulders, take off high heels. 1, 2.
And a second later, right in front of the startled Bullwinkle,
Hoo-hoo, hoo-hoo.
What's that? What's that?
Hold your ground, Bullwinkle.
Hold it. I'm froze to it.
Hoo-hoo, hoo-hoo.
I'll get a stick and see if I can scare it away.
but the plucky squirrel grabbed a nearby cactus and started for the menacing figure.
Hoo-hoo, hoo-hoo.
But what might have happened, we'll never know, for at that instant...
Crime in Italy's. There's 2 of them.
Yes, the real what's that had recovered and was bounding toward our heroes, its teeth flashing wickedly. Don't miss our next biting episode, Choo Choo Baby, or Stick to Your Gums.
Having fun, son?
Oh, hi, Pop.
How do you like Plato's watermelons?
Watermelon? Oh, this.
Yes, that. We have watermelons at home, you know.
But they're not as good as these.
That's the old story. Stolen sweets are sweeter. I'm going to teach you a lesson, Junior. And I suppose the best way is to relate a fable.
Yeah, I suppose so.
This is the fable of the fox and the owl. In a certain village in a certain forest, there was a certain fox who continually broke the law.
That's a pretty nice pane of glass you got there.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Ordinarily, I'd sentence you to a week in the pillory, but seeing as it's Be Kind to Foxes Week...
Nice pane of glass you got there.
You again. You learned your lesson?
I sure have.
Are you looking for trouble, Fox?
Not me, Your Honor.
I've got a good mind to give you 2 weeks in the pillory. However, it happens to be Kind to Window Breakers Weekend.
Well.
Fox, you get out of here.
Oh, come now. Twice burned, once shy.
You mean you're cured?
Hopelessly.
This isn't Be Kind to Anything Week. Therefore, I sentence you to 1 month in the pillory.
Gee, thanks, Judge.
No doubt by now you're wondering why the fox sought imprisonment in the pillory. The answer was simple. He liked the food.
There's the fox.
Here the citizens tossed all sorts of goodies, and the fox waited until they departed, and then he ate like a king. However, one day, something strange happened.
Hey, what gives with the rock?
For some strange reason, the citizens threw rocks instead of food. You can't eat rocks.
That does it. I'll find my sustenance elsewhere.
And so he departed. In the middle of the forest, there dwelled an old owl. Not a wise old owl, just an old owl. However, he had one special talent: cooking googleberry pies.
Is my stomach deceiving me? Or is that a googleberry pie yon owl is fondling?
Mercy me, someone's at the door.
Well, I'm here. You can go to the movie now.
Who are you?
I'm your pie sitter, that's who. I'll sit and mind the pie while you take in a show.
Fine. I'll try not to be too late. You just make yourself at home and... Wait just a cotton-picking minute.
Didn't fool you, did I, Pop? You never heard of pie sitting, did ya?
Oh, I heard of pie sitting all right, but I went to the movie last night.
Undaunted and dedicated to getting that googleberry pie, the fox tried another plan.
Ho, ho, ho. It is I, Santa. Ho, ho, ho.
That's funny. Here I'm getting ready to celebrate 4th of July, and Santa's coming down the chimney.
Happy New Year. Merry Christmas.
Well, bless my soul, it's Santa Claus.
Deck the halls with hocks of holly.
You got a present for me, Santa?
This year we're going to do it different. You give me a present.
Anything specific in mind?
How about a googleberry pie?
All righty, and I'll tell you what, we'll even put a candle in it. Here, you hold the candle, and I'll light it.
I got a funny feeling I'll be home for Christmas.
Oh, no, not the pie sitter again.
Quick, let me in. There's thousands of Indians out there. We're hopelessly surrounded.
Indians? Where?
Thousands of them, maybe hundreds. Whew. I've been fighting them off all day. Say, you don't have a bite of food for a hungry soldier, do you?
Just that googleberry pie over there.
Mind if I take a bite or two?
Help yourself. I'll get my rifle and keep a lookout for redskins.
You do that. What the devil's going on?
Indians, they're attacking.
Oh, come off it, Pop. You know there ain't no Indians out there.
Giving up the cause as hopeless, the fox returned to the village. But it was there in the square that he saw an organ grinder and his monkey.
That's a boy. Go get at the loot.
The fox watched in amazement as the little monkey obeyed and climbed all over the square, returning with the kind offerings.
I'll give you $50 for King Kong there.
It's a deal.
With the little monkey under his arm, the fox returned to a spot just a stone's throw from the owl's thatched hut.
Okay, boy. You run into that hut and bring back the googleberry pie.
The monkey took off while the fox held on to his leash. Moments later, he felt the leash stiffen.
He got it. He got it!
He reeled in with all he had. Unfortunately, it wasn't the monkey with the pie at the other end. It was the owl with a gun. And that ended the fox.
Some fable, Dad.
And I hope it taught you a lesson, Junior. Just remember the moral. Stolen sweets are sweeter.
I got a better moral, Pop. A fool and his monkey are soon parted.
For your next vacation, why not visit wonderful Wyoming? Its beautiful mountains, great fishing, fabulous hunting make Wyoming an earthly paradise. But if you do go to Wyoming, for heaven's sake, stay away from Angel's Cramp. It's a mess. It's also a fishing resort with 100,000 fish, 10,000 fishermen, and no bait.
No bait?
No bait. Of course, fishermen are a determined lot. Some of them tried diving for the fish. Some tried trapping the fish. Neither idea worked very well.
Ow!
With no bait anywhere, you'd think it would be a field day for fly fishermen, but the fish wouldn't cooperate. They wanted worms. So in the woods near the resort, fishermen dug frantically.
You come across any angleworms yet, Mervyn?
Nope, I keep running into these silly gold nuggets.
Well, keep at it. We're bound to get lucky sooner or later.
At the resort itself, there was Black Despair and his orchestra. But nobody was dancing, and the manager was at his wits' end.
I'd pay $1 apiece for fishing worms.
And meanwhile, our heroes, Rocky and Bullwinkle, are the proud and trembling owners of a whole herd of worms.
Proud because we've driven our herd 50 miles.
Trembling because we're scared stiff.
Yes, our boys have been surprised by a what's that? So called because whenever people see it, they scream,
What's that?
you see. But this particular what's that is in reality Boris and Natasha, disguised to frighten our friends into giving up their herd.
Anything I hate is stool pigeon narrator.
But last time, another figure had just made the scene.
What's that?
Yes, this was the real honest-to-badness what's that.
Boris, that awful thing is coming right at us.
And look, Natasha, it's picking up a big rock.
Gee, if they're going to fight each other, maybe we got a chance to get the herd through, Bullwinkle.
Our heroes didn't know that presenting a rock to its sweetheart was the what's that's form of romantic courtship. Then again, neither did Boris and Natasha.
He is putting down the rock, Boris. What we do?
What else? We pick it up and crown him with it. Then we run.
Unfortunately, hitting a what's that with his own rock was a sign of acceptance. So the lovelorn what's that dashed after the retreating villain.
Boris, he is coming closer and...
And what?
He is blowing kisses.
Natasha, I just got a terrible suspicion about him and us.
What is it?
I think we're engaged.
Well, with the two what's that's gone, our boys continued driving their underground herd toward Angel's Cramp.
Get along there.
It looked as if their troubles were over.
Don't you believe it?
Boris, what happened to the what's that?
He's over there.
Yes, the wily villain had spread his costume over a bush, and the real what's that was doing his best to romance it. He brought it rocks, candy, even played the mandolin. Imagine all that fuss over a dummy.
Please, does he make remarks about your friends?
Well, Boris, they got through the pass. How are we going to stop herd?
Easy, Natasha. We flood them out.
Flood them out?
Comes big rainstorm, whole herd of worms get soaked. Gets influenza.
That will ruin moose and squirrel.
Of course. Who buys bait that sneezes?
True. But how are you going to get big rainstorm?
Watch carefully.
And Boris pulled a small book out of his pocket.
Darling, what is that?
What else is handbook for rainmakers?
Handbook for rainmakers. What's it called?
The old soak.
Don't miss our next soggy episode, Reign of Terror, or The Desperate Showers.
Hello, you poetry and snow lovers. Today's poem begins this here way. Over the river and through the woods to grandmother's house we go. The horse knows the way to carry the sleigh.
That horse knows the way.
To grandma's, please, and don't spare the horse. See what I mean? Over the river and through the wood. Oh, how the snow!
You sure he knows the way?
Of course, Rock. Looky there. Over the river and through the woods. Now grandmother's cap I spy. Hurrah for the fun! Is the pudding done? Hurrah for the pumpkin pie! Hey, you don't look like no grandma to me.
You're no Red Riding Hood yourself, Jack.
Bullwinkle, are you sure this is the right house?
Oh, it's the right house. It's just the wrong story.
Well, how is that possible?
Easy. It's a 2-story house.
Gold. Some Canadians had it in their watches. Others had it in their teeth. One Canadian had it on his mind. The pride of the mounted police, Dudley Do-Right. Now our hero is digging for two reasons. One, he received a new shovel on his birthday. And two, only gold and the wealth it brings will win him the fickle but beautiful heart of the fair Nell Fenwick. Nell is the daughter of the post commander, and it is for her that Dudley tries to do right, but seldom does.
Look what I have found, sweet Nell.
That's not gold, Dudley. That is a tin can.
Yes, but all that glitters is not gold.
What does that mean?
I'm not sure. I shall give it some thought whilst working in the mine. Farewell, Nell.
And with that thought in mind, Dudley dug as he had never dug before, toiling day and night until 3 weeks later, he emerged from the bowels of the earth holding 2 large sacks filled with gold.
Eureka!
That's Eureka. But Dudley knew what he meant, and off he dashed to his beloved.
I have done it. I can now wed the fair Nell.
Ah, but Dudley's horse had been through this before. He knew that the path to success was paved with low-grade asphalt. Speaking of low-grade, here is the villain of our melodrama, Snidely Whiplash.
Egad, that dullard has struck it rich. Now I must strike while the dullard is hot.
His serpent-like mind quickly hit upon an evil plan.
Oh, Dudley, have you given any thought to what would happen to me if anything should happen to you?
Why, no, I haven't.
I thought not. Here, sign this.
And the unsuspecting Dudley signed a will that left his mind to Whiplash in the event that he should meet with an untimely accident, which is precisely what Snidely had in mind. Up to now, no one had thought it odd that Dudley had discovered gold that had already been poured into sacks. The reason for this was Dudley had not dug his way into a mine, but into the post commander's office where the payroll was usually kept.
1 potato, 2 potato, 3 potato, 4. What's this? 2 potatoes are missing.
Yes, Inspector Fenwick was nobody's fool. He knew that somebody was robbing the post payroll.
Send Do-Right in here.
You sent for me, sir?
Here are your orders, Do-Right. Bring in the thief who's robbing the payroll.
5 minutes later, Constable Dudley Do-Right was on the trail to Quebec in search of clues. Little did he know he was playing right into Snidely Whiplash's evil hand.
One well-placed shot and I'm rich.
But Whiplash was not only a poor marksman, but a poor judge of firearms. For this rifle had a kaleidoscope instead of a telescope.
Looks more like a test pattern than a target. Take this, Do-Right.
A mile down the trail, he tried again. This time with an insidious weapon called a blowgun. But again his knowledge was lacking, for the gun didn't blow darts, it blew bubbles.
Oh, look, horse. Lawrence Welk must be on a road tour.
It wasn't until Dudley stopped for water that Whiplash finally succeeded in getting the upper hand. From out of nowhere, a stout rope encircled Dudley.
Aha! I have you in my clutches.
Oh, Whiplash, you devil, what are you up to?
No good, you can bet on that. I shall throw you over the cliff. Then your mine will be mine.
But I can swim.
With a stick of dynamite in your mouth?
Whiplash jammed a burning stick of TNT into our hero's big mouth and pushed him over. Down, down, down he plummeted into the raging torrent below. It was true that he couldn't swim with a stick of dynamite in his mouth, but his horse could. Moments later, he and his master stood safely on shore, or almost safely, for the stick of dynamite was still clutched between his teeth, and it was still burning. Dudley realized that only water would extinguish the fuse, but having his fill of the river, he decided to head back to the post and to the inspector's office where a bucket of water was kept for just such emergencies. By now, Whiplash was in the process of exploring his mine. Groping his way through the inky blackness of the tunnel, he came up in the inspector's office and clutched to his bosom the remaining sacks of gold.
Eureka! I am rich!
Just then the door burst open. Dudley dashed in, doused the TNT in the bucket of water, then turned to his arch enemy.
So you are the payroll thief.
Whiplash was caught in the web of his own evil scheme. He got 30 days. Dudley got 7, a week's vacation as a reward for getting his man.
But where are you off to, dear Dudley?
I am off to find another mine so I can make the mine.
Yes, Dudley Do-Right went back to digging for gold. And although we cannot be certain, we feel he will soon find wealth beyond his wildest dreams.
Well, today's program opens on a cheery note.
Love!
You see? For our heroes and their herd of worms have almost reached their destination, the fishing resort of Angel's Cramp. And they're not a moment too soon either, for Angel's Cramp has run clean out of bait. And fishermen deprived of their opportunity to fish can be mighty ugly customers.
You said it.
Finlayson, what happened to you?
I had a little tiff with a couple of the natives.
And they tied you in knots?
Yes, the natives are wrestlers tonight.
But it still isn't clear sailing or herding for our heroes. For in a tiny valley a short distance away, their arch enemy is preparing to do them wrong.
Why you in Indian costume, darling?
Is all part of Finnish plan to knock off whole herd of worms. Look, in Fireside Crookbook, special fold-out section, see? I do crazy rain dance. We get big cloudburst. Rain soaks into ground. Worms get chilled, develops into influenza. Gesundheit! And that's the end of hurt.
You know, Boris, you're really a sneaky double-crossing schnook.
Meh, flatterer.
And Boris immediately started his magical rain dance. First, he did the Navajo hoedown. Then he did the Gitchy Gummy Getaway. And finally, the Choctaw Cha-Cha-Cha.
Why are you stopping, Natasha?
Got to turn page, darling.
Oh.
Sure enough, in a little while, dark clouds began to gather above, a sight that doesn't escape the attention of our heroes.
Hey, it's clouding up, Bullwinkle.
Well, of course, it never clouds down.
Looks like we might be in for some precipitation.
Yeah, if it doesn't rain first.
Back in the valley, Boris was preparing for the grand finale.
Right, as soon as I finish the Menominee Mambo, and a one and a two and a dip and glide.
Darling, it isn't raining yet.
Just wait. Stop the music. Now comes the grand finale.
What is grand finale?
Absolutely certain way to make it rain.
What's that?
I wash car.
And Boris ducked out of sight behind a nearby mesa and shortly returned driving a vintage automobile, which he then proceeded to polish to a bright gleam. Sure enough, he had no sooner finished than... Unfortunately, Boris's rain dance had been too efficient. Every rain cloud had gathered directly over his head. As a result, the little valley was soon turned into a large lake on which two castaways floated on an old Essex. While just a mile away, our heroes were still safe and dry.
Look over there, Rock. It's raining pitchforks and plow handles in just one little spot.
Well, it's either a feast or famine.
Yup. Waste not, want not.
He who hesitates is lost.
A stitch in time saves 9.
Yep.
Yup.
Well, enough of this uplifting philosophy.
Yeah, I run out of sayings anyway.
Let's move our herd into Angel's Cramp.
It wasn't much of a move, for Angel's Cramp was only 100 yards away. But at that moment...
There, that was close!
What do you mean close? It hit the ground, didn't it?
Better it than me.
But, Bullwinkle, what about our underground herd?
Yes, what about it? Could the tiny herd of worms survive 1,000,000 volts of electricity?
Don't ask me. I don't have any more lines to say.
Then we'll find out next time in the Lightning Bugs or Nuts and Volts.